Youth HRDs form organized and sustained movements to bring about societal change or oppose injustice. The movements are formed in different ways, including student strikes, protests, and cultural forms of expression. This report analyzes emerging trends in youth activism and mobilization and explores the challenges that youth HRDs face in the region. Digital activism. Social media acts enables youth HRDs to still join in activism without being subjected to traditional forms of state surveillance and repression. Protests and public assemblies. Protests organized by youth in the sub-region aim to condemn human rights violations such as civil and political rights, social and economic rights, environmental rights, gender equality rights, children's rights, educational rights, health rights, refugee and immigration rights, and civic space violations. Artivism. In African countries, popular arts play a significant role because they echo the opinions of those who lack the means to openly express their discontent towards the government. Over time, artists have taken on the role of Africa's conscience and voice, particularly where civil society space is restricted. Youth HRDs challenge traditional power structures. As a result, they face risks and discrimination against their age, race, gender, sexual orientation, or socio-economic status. Challenges and barriers. Certain social norms and cultural traditions impact youth HRDs negatively because society feels that their religion and traditions are being threatened. Stereotypes and age-based discrimination. African cultures often exasperate stereotypes and discrimination against young people who are seen as inexperienced and unwise. This negatively affects contributions made by young people to discussions, dialogues, and community development. Digital barriers. Internet shutdowns are a common practice by authorities in anticipation of demonstrations, during election periods, and in conflict areas. Ethiopia, South Sudan, Somaliland, Uganda, and Tanzania have all experienced internet shutdowns or disruptions of service. Financial barriers. The numbers were overwhelming in Kenya, South Sudan, and Uganda, where nearly all HRDs interviewed identified lack of adequate funding as a barrier. Legal barriers. Youth HRDs reported several legal barriers that impede their activism, including lack of legal protection, restrictive legal frameworks that curtail civic space, and the bureaucracy involved in establishing non-governmental organizations. They also mentioned inadequate knowledge of laws related to their work among youth HRDs. Political barriers. Young HRDs face political persecution, intimidation, surveillance, stigmatization, reprisal attacks, and both direct and indirect threats for speaking out.